Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated from Umar bin Khattab that the Messenger of Allah said, "Do not take back your charity." Sunan ibn Majah 2390 Reference 15 Hadith 1. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. Abdullah bin Abbas narrated that the Messenger of Allah said, "The likeness of the one who gives charity then takes it back is that of a dog who vomits then goes back and eats its vomit." Sunan ibn Majah 2391 Reference 15 Hadith 2. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated from Umar, meaning, from his father, his grandfather Umar, that he gave a horse in charity at the time of the Messenger of Allah. Then he saw its owner selling it for a low price. He went to the Prophet and asked him about that, and he said, "Do not buy what you gave in charity." Sunan ibn Majah 2392 Reference 15 Hadith 3. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated from Zubair bin Awam that he gave a horse called Gamur or Gamra to someone. Then he saw one of its colts or fillies attributed to his horse being sold, but he refrained from bugging it. Sunan ibn Majah 2393 Reference 15 Hadith 4. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated from Abdullah bin Buraida that his father said, "A woman came to the Prophet and said, 'O Messenger of Allah, I gave my mother a slave girl of mine, and she has died.' The Messenger of Allah said, 'Allah, SWT, has rewarded you, and returned to you your inheritance, without your seeking that.'" Sunan ibn Majah 2394 Reference 15 Hadith 5. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated from Amr bin Shu'aib, from his father, that his grandfather said, "A man came to the Prophet and said, 'I gave my mother a garden of mine, and she has died and has no other heir but me.' The Messenger of Allah said, 'Your charity is valid and your garden has been returned to you.'" Sunan ibn Majah 2395 Reference 15 Hadith 6. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated that Ibn Umar said, Umar bin Khattab acquired some land at Khaybar, and he came to the Prophet and consulted him. He said, "O Messenger of Allah, I have been given some wealth at Khaybar and I have never been given any wealth that is more precious to me than it. What do you command me to do with it?" He said, "If you wish, you can make it an endowment and give its produce in charity." So Umar gave it on the basis that it would not be sold, given away or inherited, and its produce was to be given to the poor, to relatives, for freeing slaves, in the cause of Allah, to wayfarers and to guests. And there was nothing wrong if a person appointed to be in charge of it consumed from it on a reasonable basis or feeding a fried, without accumulating it for himself. Sunan ibn Majah 2396 Reference 15 Hadith 7. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated that Ibn Umar said, Umar bin Khattab said, "O Messenger of Allah, the 100 shares of the Khaybar I have never been given any wealth that is more beloved to me than them, and I wanted to give them in charity." The Prophet said, "Make it an endowment and give its produce in the cause of Allah, SWT." Sunan ibn Majah 2397 Reference 15 Hadith 8. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. Shurabil Muslim said, "I heard Abu Umama say, I heard the Messenger of Allah say, borrowed items are to be returned and an animal borrowed for milking is to be returned." Sunan ibn Majah 2398 Reference 15 Hadith 9. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated that Anas bin Malik said, "I heard the Messenger of Allah say, Borrowed items are to be returned and an animal borrowed for milking is to be returned. Sunan ibn Majah 2399 Reference 15 Hadith 10. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated from Samura that the Messenger of Allah said, "The hand that takes is responsible for what it has taken until it returns it." Sunan ibn Majah 2400 Reference 15 Hadith 11. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated from Amr bin Shu'aib, from his father, that his grandfather said, "The Messenger of Allah said, whoever is entrusted with an item for safekeeping, is not responsible for it, so long as he is not negligent." Sunan ibn Majah 2401 Reference 15 Hadith 12. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated from Urwa al-Bariki that the Prophet gave him a dinar to buy him a sheep, and he bought 2 sheep for him. Then he sold one of them for a dinar, and bought a dinar and a sheep to the Prophet. The Messenger of Allah prayed for blessing for him. Sunan ibn Majah 2402 Reference 15 Hadith 13. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated from Abu Hurairah that the Messenger of Allah said, "Sad face, wrongdoing, is when a rich man takes a long time to repay a debt, and if one of you is referred to a rich man to collect a debt, he should accept that referral." Sunan ibn Majah 2403 Reference 15 Hadith 14. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated from Ibn Umar that the Messenger of Allah said, "When a rich man takes too long to repay a debt, this is wrongdoing, and if the debt is transferred to a rich man, you should accept it." Sunan ibn Majah 2404 Reference 15 Hadith 15. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. Shurabil bin Muslim al-Kalani said, "I heard Abu Umama al-Bahil say, I heard the Messenger of Allah say, the guarantor is responsible and the debt must be repaid." Sunan ibn Majah 2405 Reference 15 Hadith 16. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated from Ibn Abbas that during the time of the Messenger of Allah, a man pursued a debtor who owed him 10 dinar, and he said, "I do not have anything to give you." He, the creditor, said, "No, by Allah, I will not leave you until you pay the debt or you bring me a guarantor." Then he dragged him to the Prophet and the Prophet said to him, "How long will you wait?" He said, 1 month. The Messenger of Allah said, "I will be a guarantor for him." Then he came to him at the time the Prophet had said, and the Prophet said to him, "Where did you get this from?" He said, "From a mine." He said, "There is nothing good in it," and he paid the debt for him. Sunan ibn Majah 2406 Reference 15 Hadith 17. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated that Uthman bin Abdullah bin Mahab said, "I heard Abdullah bin Abu Qatada narrate from his father that a corpse was brought to the Prophet for him to offer the funeral prayer, and he said, 'Pray for your companion, for he owes a debt.' Abu Qatada said, 'I will stand surely for him?' The Prophet said, 'In full?' He said, 'In full.' And the debt he owed was 18 or 19 dirham. Sunan ibn Majah 2407 Reference 15 Hadith 18. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated that the mother of the believers Maimuna used to take out loans frequently, and some of her family said, "Do not that," and they denounced her for that. She said, Number, I heard my Prophet and my close friend say, there is no Muslim who takes out a loan and Allah, SWT, knows that he intends to pay it back, but Allah, SWT, will pay it back for him in this world. Sunan ibn Majah 2408 Reference 15 Hadith 19. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated from Abdullah bin Jafar that the Messenger of Allah said, Allah will be the borrower until he pays off his debt, so long as it, the loan, is not for something that Allah dislikes. Sunan ibn Majah 2409 Reference 15 Hadith 20. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. Sahib al-Khair narrated that the Messenger of Allah said, any man who takes out a loan, having resolved not to pay it back, will meet Allah, SWT, as a thief. Sunan ibn Majah 2410 Reference 15 Hadith 21. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated from Abu Hurairah that the Prophet said, whoever takes people's wealth with the intention of destroying it, Allah, SWT, will destroy him. Sunan ibn Majah 2411 Reference 15 Hadith 22. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated from Thoban, the freed slave of the Messenger of Allah, that the Messenger of Allah said, anyone whose soul leaves his body and he is free of three things, will enter paradise: arrogance, stealing from the spoils of war, and debt. Sunan ibn Majah 2412 Reference 15 Hadith 23. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated from Abu Hurairah that the Messenger of Allah said, the soul of the believer is attached to his debt until it is paid off. Sunan ibn Majah 2413 Reference 15 Hadith 24. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated from Ibn Umar that the Messenger of Allah said, whoever dies owing a dinar or a dirham, it will be paid back from his good deeds, because then there will be no dinar or dirham. Sunan ibn Majah 2414 Reference 15 Hadith 25. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated from Abu Hurairah that, if a believer died at the time of the Messenger of Allah and he had debts, the Messenger of Allah would ask, did he leave anything with which to off his debt? If they said yes, then he would offer the funeral prayer for him, but if they said no, then he would say, pray for your companion. When Allah granted his prophet the conquests, he said, I am nearer to the believers than their own selves. Whoever dies owing a debt, I will pay it off for him, and whoever leaves behind wealth, it will be for his heirs. Sunan ibn Majah 2415 Reference 15 Hadith 26. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated from Habir that the Messenger of Allah said, whoever leaves behind money, it is for his heirs, and whoever leaves behind a debt for children, I am nearer to the believers. Sunan ibn Majah 2416 Reference 15 Hadith 27. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated from Abu Hurairah that the Messenger of Allah said, whoever is easy with a debtor who is in difficulty, Allah will be easy with him in this world and in the hereafter. Sunan ibn Majah 2417 Reference 15 Hadith 28. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated from Buraida al-Aslami that the Prophet said, whoever gives respite to one in difficulty, he will have the reward of an act of charity for each day. Whoever gives him respite after payment becomes due, will have the reward of an act of charity equal to the amount of the loan for each day. Sunan ibn Majah 2418 Reference 15 Hadith 29. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated from Abu Yasar, the companion of the Prophet, that the Messenger of Allah said, Whoever would like Allah to shade him with his shade, let him give respite to one in difficulty, or waive repayment of the loan. Sunan ibn Majah 2419 Reference 15 Hadith 30. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated from Hudhaifa that the Prophet said, "A man died and it was said to him, 'What did you do?' Either he remembered or was reminded and said, 'I used to be easygoing in coins and cash collecting debts due, and I used to give respite to the debtor, who was in difficulty. So, Allah, SWT, forgave him.'" Abu Masud said, "I heard that from the Messenger of Allah." Sunan ibn Majah 2420 Reference 15 Hadith 31. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated from Ibn Umar and Aisha that the Messenger of Allah said, "Whoever demands his rights, let him do so in a decent manner as much as he can." Sunan ibn Majah 2421 Reference 15 Hadith 32. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated from Abu Hurairah that the Messenger of Allah said to the one who was entitled to something, "Take your rights in a decent manner as much as he can." Sunan ibn Majah 2422 Reference 15 Hadith 33. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated from Abu Hurairah that the Messenger of Allah said, "The best of you, or among the best of you, are those who pay off their debts in the best manner." Sunan ibn Majah 2423 Reference 15 Hadith 34. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. Ismail bin Abi Rabia al-Makhzumi narrated from his father, from his grandfather, that the Prophet borrowed 30 or 40,000 from him, when he fought at Hunan. When he came back he paid the loan. Then the Prophet said to him, "May Allah, SWT, bless your family and your wealth for you. The reward for lending is repayment and words of paradise." Sunan ibn Majah 2424 Reference 15 Hadith 35. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated that Ibn Abbas said, "A man came to ask the Prophet of Allah for some debt or some right, and he spoke harshly to him, and the companions of the Messenger of Allah wanted to rebuke him. But the Messenger of Allah said, 'Let him be, for the one who is owed something has authority over the debtor, until it is paid off.'" Sunan ibn Majah 2425 Reference 15 Hadith 36. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated that Abu Sa'id al-Khudri said, "A Bedouin came to the Prophet to ask him to pay back a debt that he owed him, and he spoke harshly, saying, 'I will make things difficult for you unless you repay me.' His companions rebuked him and said, 'Woe to you, do you know who you are speaking to?' He said, 'I am only asking for my rights.' The Prophet said, 'Why do you not support the one who has a right?' Then he sent word to Khala bint Qais, saying to her, 'If you have dates, lend them to us until our dates come, then we will pay you back.' She said, 'Yes, may my father be ransomed for you, O Messenger of Allah.' So she gave him a loan, and he paid back the Bedouin and fed him. He, the Bedouin, said, 'You have paid me in full, may Allah, SWT, pay you in full.' He, the Prophet, said, 'Those are the best of people. May that nation not be cleansed of sin, among whom the weak cannot get their rights without trouble.' Sunan ibn Majah 2426 Reference 15 Hadith 37. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated from Amr bin Sharid that his father said that the Messenger of Allah said, "If one who can afford it delays repayment, his honor and punishment become permissible." Sunan ibn Majah 2427 Reference 15 Hadith 38. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. Hermas bin Habib narrated from his father that his grandfather said, I came to the Prophet with a man who owed me money, and he said to me, keep him. Then he passed by me at the end of the day and said, what did your prisoner do, O brother of Banu Tamim? Sunan ibn Majah 2428 Reference 15 Hadith 39. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated from Abdullah bin Kab bin Malik from his father that he demanded payment owed by Ibn Abi Hadrad in the mosque. Their voices became so loud that the Messenger of Allah heard them when he was in his house. He came out and called Kab, who said, here I am, O Messenger of Allah. He said, waive this much of your loan, and gestured with his hand to indicate half. He said, I will do that, and he said, get up and repay it. Sunan ibn Majah 2429 Reference 15 Hadith 40. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated that Qais bin Rumi said, Sulayman bin Udanan lent Alqamah 1,000 dirham until he got his salary. When he got his salary, he demanded that he pay him back and treated him harshly. He paid him back, and it was as if Alqamah was angry. Several months passed, then he came to him and said, lend me 1,000 dirham until my salary comes. He said yes, it would be an honor. O Utbah, bring me that sealed leather bag that you have. He said, by Allah, SWT, these are your dirham that you paid back to me. I did not touch a single dirham. What made you do what you did to me? That is, treat me so harshly. He said, what I heard from you. He said, what did you hear from me? He said, I heard you narrated from Ibn Masud that the Prophet said, there is no Muslim who lends something to another Muslim twice, but it will be like giving charity once. He said, that is what Ibn Masud told me. Sunan ibn Majah 2430 Reference 15 Hadith 41. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated from Anas bin Malik that the Messenger of Allah said, on the night on which I was taken on the night journey, Isra, I saw written at the gate of paradise, charity brings a 10-fold reward and a loan brings an 18-fold reward. I said, O Jibril, why is a loan better than charity? He said, because the beggar asks when he has something, but the one who asks for loan does so only because he is in need. Sunan ibn Majah 2431 Reference 15 Hadith 42. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated that Yahya bin Abu Ishaq al-Hunay said, I asked Anas bin Malik, what if a man gives his brother a loan, then the borrower give him a gift? The Messenger of Allah said, if any one of you borrows something, then he gives the lender a gift or gives him a ride on his riding beast. He should not accept the gift or the ride, unless they used to treat each other in that manner beforehand. Sunan ibn Majah 2432 Reference 15 Hadith 43. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated from Sa'd bin Atwal that his brother died, leaving behind 300 dirham in dependents. I wanted to spend his money on his dependents, but the Prophet said, your brother is being detained by his debt, so pay it off for him. He said, O Messenger of Allah, I have paid it off apart from 2 dinar, which a woman is claiming but she has no proof. He said, give them to her for she is telling the truth. Sunan ibn Majah 2433 Reference 15 Hadith 44. Sunan ibn Majah. The chapters on charity. It was narrated from Habir bin Abdullah that his father died owing 30 wasq to a Jewish man. Habir bin Abdullah asked him for respite but he refused. Habir asked the Messenger of Allah to intercede for him with him. So the messenger of Allah went and spoke to the Jew, asking him to accept dates in lieu of what was owed, but he refused. The messenger of Allah spoke to him, but he refused to give respite. Then the messenger of Allah went in among the date palm trees and walked among them. Then he said to Habir, "Pick dates for him and pay off what is owed to him in full." So he picked 30 wask of dates after the messenger of Allah came back, and there were 12 wask more than what was owed. Habir came to the messenger of Allah to tell him what had happened, and he found that the messenger of Allah was absent. When the messenger of Allah came back, he came to him and told him that he had paid off the debt in full, and he told him about the extra dates. The messenger of Allah Sunan ibn Majah 2434 reference 15 Hadith 45. Sunan ibn Majah, the chapters on charity said, "Tell Umar bin Khattab about that." So Habir went to Umar said to him, "I knew when the messenger of Allah walked amongst them that Allah, SWT, would bless them for us." Sunan ibn Majah 2434 reference 15 Hadith 45. Sunan ibn Majah, the chapters on charity. It was narrated from Abdullah bin Amr that the messenger of Allah said, "A debt will be settled on the day of resurrection if the one who owes it dies, apart from 3. A man who lost his strength fighting in the cause of Allah, SWT, so he borrows in order to become strong again to fighting in the cause of Allah, SWT, so he borrows in order to become strong again to fight the enemy of Allah, SWT, and his enemy. A man who sees a Muslims die and he cannot find anything with which to shroud him except by taking a loan. A man who sees a Muslim die and he cannot find anything with which to shroud him except by taking a loan. A man who fears Allah, SWT, if he stays single, so he gets married for fear of losing his religious commitment. Allah will pay off the debt for these people on the day of resurrection. Sunan ibn Majah 2528 reference 15 Hadith 46.